to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Will you do a little roll call since we're kind of not all here? Please.
Carl Ashley,
Present.
Carol Ann Schwarzenbach, Kara Hagan, present. Georgia Holmes, present. Andrea Kramer, here. Krista Spillane, here. Deanne McComb, Tim Tesher.
Here.
Roll call's complete.
Thank you.
We have a quorum.
And we have a quorum, so we can have a meeting. Do you want to identify one conflict of interest when we appoint the bid board? Our Councilwoman Hagan will have to abstain. And
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Can you hear this? There.
Yep.
Minutes from the December 7th council meeting.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Bills in between.
$84,631.49. Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Current claims.
$119,199.16. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We did not receive any calls from anybody for wanting to be, except for after the agenda had already gone out, for communications from the public. But if there's someone who did want to speak, this is normally when we have communications from the public. We don't, oh, we do have a mic.
My name is Chris Pinnell, and I just want to address the issue of the recent snow removal. I know like there's some areas in town that were late getting like all the snow off the roads, like especially in front of my parents' house on Evans Street, and then I travel Galveston like every day to go to the gym, and there's still slushy stuff on the roads and stuff. I just think we can do a much more better job of removing the snow.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. We have a public hearing at 7:15, so I'm going to move forward through the committee reports, and we'll stop at 7:15. Georgia Holmes at Admin and Finance.
We had quite a long agenda, so we had items on our agenda for tonight that are included in that. A, B, D, and F all are part of the things that we talked about. The fire department contract, Andrea brought that up and presented it to the fire department, and we discussed that. Police department requested getting the long rifle purchase. We talked about the assessment abatement of the city-owned property, and I think that came up to like, if I can get the number here. Total of $10,815.84. We had 3 top-of-scale salaries: airport, clubhouse, and superintendent for the golf course. We discussed the bid board ordinance, and it's just in the draft. And then we also had the contingency transfers that are on our agenda for tonight too. And we looked at that. The resolution for the credit card electronic transfer policy, we're looking at doing something with that so that we can use it for meals. Right now we cannot. Reviewed it and discussed the bills being paid in between so that Misty can have a little better idea what's to be on that. We reviewed and discussed purchasing approval of our approval process because we had a few complaints as to how they are being discussed once they come to the city. Then our mayor and council code of conducts we referred, and we also referred to the next meeting the term limits for the mayor and the council.
I have a question on the abatement. Those are properties that have been given back to the city, and we own them,
Yes. Yes.
and those abatements, when we sell those properties, if we sell them, will those abatements go back as a minimum?
No, the county already tried to sell these properties at a tax sale. They're now owned by the city. What we're going to do is waive them. They'll be gone after we're done doing this. So if we are able to sell the property later, it'll be without the assessments.
Okay,
Some of them were unable to be built on, so it's things that needed to be corrected.
There are three.
Yes, 3 different people, but there's a total of 10,158.84.
you can just put it in my folder.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I think that's all.
Thanks, Georgia. I know you had a very productive meeting. Appreciate it. I'll just swing into the airport if there's something.
We didn't have any meeting at the airport. Things are kind of quiet out there right now.
Just snowing. Deanne is not here.
I brought a copy of the agenda if you want me
From the
to.
chamber.
Mhm.
Want to cover for her?
Sure.
Great, thank you, Karen.
So December 2nd, we had, wow, I've got a good mic tonight. December 2nd, we had a meeting for the Chamber of Commerce. We discussed our Black Hills and Badlands and tourism, GPS problems in Hot Springs. And the Chamber is addressing a few of those problems, and we have now the link to an email. If anyone else has address problems with GPS in the area, they can contact the chamber and Justin can get that information to you. We talked about the tourism presentation on December 10th in Spearfish, Black Hills State University. Students did a presentation on tourism of Hot Springs and gave us their synopsis of what they discovered from studying our town. And they're going to come to Hot Springs, we don't have a date yet, to give a public presentation the end of January or the beginning of February. We'll let you know when that date's coming up. We discussed some advertising. Basically went over the visitor statistics or advertising. The Governor's Conference of Tourism, January 19th through 21st is coming up. That's in Pierre. There will be a few of us attending that. We talked about new chair people for the, the chamber 3-year terms. I think Mayor Donnell is re-elected, and so is Brett Noctegal, myself, and Wally. I can't even say his last name, so I won't try. We have a Biggest Loser challenge coming to the community of Hot Springs for January. We'll be getting information about that. The Chamber of Commerce will be contacting Health for Life Fitness and Body in Motion and Bluebird Mesa and Evans Plunge and anybody else who wants to be involved. They're putting together teams of 4. So the weight loss will be calculated by all of Hot Springs. So we could potentially win an award for that if we're the Biggest Loser. And then we went over the Cookie Cruise and the Christmas in the Hills events, and they had a wonderful Christmas in the Hills event this year. They did a really good job with that. We have an adventure cycling group coming back August of 2016, and we have the American Solar Car Challenge coming in August of 2016. And that's about it.
Thank you, Kara. I don't believe the waste management met this time. Okay, back to you, Kara, for Evans Plunge Advisory.
All right, this will be shorter. We had a meeting on December 17th at 5 p.m. at Evans Plunge. We discussed prioritizing and planning and for the closure, which is going to be the end of January through the beginning of February. We'll have those dates posted on the website. And it's a 2-week period of time. We're going to try to get all of the improvements that we're going to be doing organized and prioritized, including our volunteers. We need volunteers every Tuesday from 9 to 5. And we discussed grant opportunities. And our next meeting will be January 21st, 7 p.m. at Evans Plunge.
Thank you. Keep them busy. Parks, you're off this week, right? Or do you have an update?
I have just an update.
Okay.
We didn't meet, but I talked to Nolan this morning and.
We can't hear you.
You need a mic.
Oh.
She's one of the whisperers.
Council whisperer.
I'm a council whisperer. Okay, we didn't have a meeting because that's always at the first of the month on a Monday at 3 o'clock. But I did talk to Nolan about what was going on, and mostly it's just snow removal. So the city workers were busy with doing that. So, but there was, he did inform me that there was a grant submitted for the trees for Centennial Park. So that's what we have for the parks. I did talk to Chris this afternoon about the Civic Center, and there was some cancellations. There was the Mammothite presentation by Olga and Justin that will be rescheduled in January, and then of course the DOT will be rescheduled in January 7th, which I think everybody's aware of. But it's the Chamber Conference, the Mueller Center event was very successful with at least 30 people attending, and there was about 15 that stayed for the movie afterwards, so that was really good. And that's all I've got.
Great, thank you very much.
Did you say the DOT meeting was canceled till January 2nd?
7.
I'll
Okay.
mention it too. We've got 2 minutes till the hearing, so I'm going to quickly cover for Ms. Barbieri for the Planning and Zoning Commission. They made no decisions Wednesday night, but they did want the public to know that their public hearing that was open on paving of existing commercial properties is still open. So if that's of interest to you, please contact her at City Hall. We're trying to clean up that ordinance to make it a little clearer to read and understand, and make sure that we're still in alignment with the businesses we have active right now in the city. I am going to open the public hearing. We're going back up to hearing. Item A, 7:15 hearing on the application for the sale of retail on-off sell malt beverage license for CS Incorporated, doing business as Battle Mountain Convenience, Suite 2, located at 740 Battle Mountain Avenue, Suite B.
Motion to go into the hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, if anyone has any concerns, questions, ideas about the small beverage license, want to do the Battle Mountain Convenience, please speak now. It's a public hearing.
They are remodeling the Battle Mountain convenience store and putting in a separate room Do I understand that correctly?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. That's why we have a suite 2 and a suite B.
Well, it's actually Suite B. I don't know why the 2 is on there. It's meant to be Suite B.
Okay,
Typo when I wrote the agenda.
Okay.
They currently have one suite, Suite A supposedly, and then the second would be Suite B, so that's
Suite B and.
two
the
separate
reason- oh, sorry.
suites. Yeah.
The reason for that is that's what the state requires for legal description.
okay.
Anyone else have any other questions, or do you have any additional information you'd like to share with us?
Okay, I already have an on-off for Battle Mountain Convenience, or not?
Yeah, I know we got a little casual here with the mic over here, but yes, they already do. They're looking to have 2 separate.
What we're doing is we want to put 10 more machines in. And in order to do that, the state requires that you have the second malt beverage license. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns?
I'll second.
Okay, I'm going to take us out of the public hearing. And then I'll recognize your motion, second, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks for continuing to do business in Hot Springs, we appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go back to public safety, item H, under committee reports. Tim?
We had a meeting on the 16th. We discussed.
You're a council whisperer too.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Maybe your mic isn't on.
It's on. Share. Because Carl is like way out there. We try to do that on purpose.
It's on now?
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, we discussed the purchase of long guns for the police department. We discussed the possibility of setting up some kind of resolution so that if off-sale liquor is sold, that it be bagged before it leave the establishment. And I notice this quite a bit because I walk the Freedom Trail. You see guys walking down the Freedom Trail with their quart of beer or whatever in their hands, and I really don't think that is a real up case for the city. However, we just discussed it. Also, the concrete cover at Lower Chautauqua Park. Somebody's figured out that where that old pit is, where they used to pump water out of, it's covered with a cement cover. They've knocked one corner out of it, and it's really nice and warm in there. So they can get in there and swim and all sorts of stuff, but it's not a real good deal. So I've talked to Cindy about the liability as to whether we just open it up and leave it open, or if we want to figure out some way of closing that. We put a big boulder in front of it once, but they just chipped a bigger hole in the top of it, so that really didn't do much. So as soon as I figure out what the liability is, well, then maybe we can come forward and see if we want to open that up or just try and close it up some way. I don't know how, but.
The city engineer and the maintenance department are looking at it.
That's it for public safety.
Thank you, Tim. I'll just let you roll right into Public Works.
We had a meeting on the 15th. We had a request for some reimbursement for a sewer backup, which we passed that on to our insurance companies. Hills Material lease for the land up above the cemetery, I believe it's up above the cemetery, up above where Hills Material, the city owns a little piece of land up there, and we're setting up a deal with them to mine that. discussed free dump days. As of right now, we've just set up 2 dump weeks, free dump weeks, and it's April 25th through the 29th and September 26th through the 30th,
Well, if the council approves
if the
it.
council approves it. I don't care.
I do.
We discussed it anyway.
Yeah.
So, we discussed the 2016 project list overview, the sludge dewatering device down at the sewer, the bid opening is coming up. We also discussed the update of the contract for our wastewater ponds that needs to be renewed. And the project updates that we're going along. Here we are, same old song, different week. The buildings for the loading dock are supposed to be in the process of being poured. If you don't hear me this meeting, refer to last meeting at the same time and you'll get the same thing that I just told you. They're supposed to be being built right now.
It's been built.
It's been built.
It's ready to go, we just have to wait for the weather to cooperate, but it's ready to go, we just have to get the.
All right, thanks for the update.
At the end of the year, I figured we might as well get it done now, so monumental next week or 2 weeks from now, I've got a report to make.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
That was the meeting, done.
So you stand.
And the Albany project is moving along. He's on the last block of it, and he's not hitting near as much rock as he did in the first part of it, so hopefully he may be done with that by the first of the year. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Tim. All right, Georgia, golf course is covered in snow.
Yeah, it is. However, they are having Christmas parties up there, so give Kathy a call if you want one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful venue
It is.
for any kind of party. And she does a great job.
Yeah, she does.
Thanks, Georgia. Thanks for the reminder about that. We have no personnel, so I'm going to go into resolutions. Item A, Resolution 2015-40, establishing top of scale for airport manager, clubhouse manager, golf course superintendent, and animal control officer.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. On these that we're raising or we're setting these at, how much of a raise does this mean to the people that hold those positions right now? And is it going to be split out for all the people that work underneath them, since their base wages are based on the top? So are we gonna have a whole bunch of people getting 40, 50 cent raise here in the next 2 weeks?
That's a good
Like we
question.
did with the previous one that we did?
That's a good question, Tim. So for the clubhouse manager, the golf course superintendent, and the animal control officer, those are all based off of their current wage rate. So there's no change there at all. Those under them, it does not affect them in any way. So that takes care of those 3. For the airport manager, it is a small increase in wage. This is something the Airport Advisory Committee has recommended the council to look into more closely. It's a 15% increase over who that position supervises. So we set a rate of pay for his assistant, the assistant airport manager. We took that rate, increased it by 15% for this position. So that previous one's been set, we just had to correct this position that Ed holds.
These are also the last 4 positions within the city, permanent, full-time and part-time positions that don't have a top of scale yet. So we're establishing that for the last 4.
Because they were on contract.
Right, it's still just cleaning up kind of
Yeah.
from them being contract before and then per legal counsel making them full-time employees.
So we've actually done this for all the departments then?
Yes, so this is done. Our wage resolution for 2016 will look cleaner than it ever has in the past. It's
Okay.
very straightforward, should be understandable to anyone that reads it, not knowing the full background.
I realize this isn't a very exciting topic for the community, but from an administrative position within the city, this has been a lot of work. And I want to thank those 2 down there at that end for all the hard work that they've done there, doing the math and making sure our employees are paid properly and are represented as full-time employees of the city like they are. Did you have any other questions?
No.
You good?
Yep.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Again, thank you. Resolution 2015-41, contingency resolution. This is, when we do budget every year, there's a contingency budget, and it's roughly $100,000. Don't quote me on that, but roughly? How much? 95, okay. And we needed to move a little bit of money around. It's really money that was budgeted, but we just want to put it in their proper departments, or I'm hoping that the council will let us do that. And I also want the community to know of that $95,000, even after moving this contingency money, we still have over $66,000 in contingency. So we've done a very good job in keeping to our budgets and avoiding emergencies. And I think this is a very good effort for the city employees and the council for staying well within our budget this year.
Motion to approve resolution
I'll second.
2015-41.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Again, thank you, two of you down there, keeping us on track. I appreciate it. It's one resolution that we do in 10 seconds, but it was a lot of work. New business, motion to go for bid for sludge press equipment, bid opening scheduled for January 15th, 2016, 2 p.m. at City Hall.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? No discussion on sludge. All right, motion, or all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item B, new business, motion to set a public hearing at 7:15 p.m. on January 4th, 2016 for Red Rock River Resort that are at 603 North River Street for a full-service restaurant liquor license.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll have a public hearing on the 4th at 7:15 p.m. Motion carried. Item C, discussion and possible motion to approve replat of Hewlett Track of Boulder Falls Edition. This is recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's in your packet. Please let us know if you have any questions.
I discussed it with not engineer, but with Kim today, and she basically said because of the mountain and the contour of the hill, it wasn't something that was set up right to begin with. So I'll make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second that. And that's actually the city giving up land to them to have a access to their property that was set back from the road.
Right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, thank you, Karen. I need to make sure, all in favor was everyone, 1, 2, 5? Okay, so I have one. All right. Make sure I had the numbers on that one. Motion carried. Item D, discussion and possible motion to approve police department request to use 2016 unassigned fund balance for patrol rifles and patrol rifle accessories for the department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
I see that we have 3 estimates.
That's right.
Yes.
One from Cabela's, one from Bowden Furs and Firearms, and the other from the Gun Vault LLC.
The one that has for the Public Safety Committee, the one that we recommend would be estimate 2 to keep it local. That way we've got somebody right here that if one of them needs worked on or something, why we can, and the overall amount of money difference difference isn't that much.
It's only $400.
So that's what we recommend, that we go with estimate 2.
Okay.
So are we approving the estimate number 2 for Bowden Furs and Firearms?
I'm fine with you doing that if you choose. But you need
I'll
to
add it into
specifically
my-
state that in your motion.
I'll add into my motion then that we accept the estimate number 2 from Bowden for the purchase of police department for patrol rifles and patrol rifle accessories.
Second the motion.
Any further discussion?
I just wanted to say that Mike came and talked to us, and he felt like some of the things have been going on in the public right now. The sheriff department, they do have that, and we do not have it in our police department. It was something he felt was necessary, so that's all I have.
This is one of the things, in my opinion, I have never quite understood why, and Hot Springs is not the only city that's like that. It's a lot of towns that are like this. The guys that we're trying to apprehend in North, I don't know how to put it any other way, but they've got the local police forces so outgunned that it's just unreal. It's kind of like sending our police force to a gunfight with a knife, you know. That's, you know, my feelings on it, so.
We have the third lowest, I mean, we're like the lowest crime rate in Hot Springs. I mean, we should be proud of that. And I hope we keep that. But this is something that Mike felt was really necessary for them, so.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I just want to state that I appreciate Mike Close calling all of us, I think personally, to discuss this, so we were well informed.
I was surprised they didn't have them.
Yeah.
And they've also already started the training, or will have training soon. So they will not be issued until they have, you want to help me say the right words here? Trained or?
Yep, exactly, so you're trained.
Okay.
And we do have the training local, so we didn't have to pay for them to go to Piers, what I understand.
Yeah, they
Right?
come to us and out to the range. Okay, thanks for helping with the nods. Appreciate you being here. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, and that is for item 2, or estimate 2. Okay. Item E is a little more complex, but motion to appoint the following members of the Business Improvement District, also known as the BID Board, to the Bid Improvement Board for 1, 2, and 3-year terms determined by random drawing, which we're going to do, and I'm going to explain that a little bit. This bid board was put together a couple years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and per state law and per city ordinance, it wasn't quite done right, and because a lot of us are new, we're reading the book, we're reading the state laws, and we're trying to do things right, and we found that we needed to do 3-year terms for the board. However, the board really wasn't in place. I am going to do what the mayor is supposed to do, and that is appoint a board, 5 people per the law, for what I'd like to do for 3-year terms, but since we're kind of hitting reset and starting over and doing it right now, we are going to randomly appoint board members for 1, 2, and 3-year terms, and they will be easily able to re-up if they so choose to the full 3-year term. But we don't want everybody to come in at once and everybody to go out at once. So we're trying to stagger their terms and give them the option, or the board's option, after their term is up. So we have brought Santa in to officially help us determine randomly who has a 1-year. So we're having 1 1-year, 2 2-year, and 2 3-year terms for the total of 5. Yes, and we need again to ask Councilwoman Hagan to abstain from this. So the 5 people are Wally Cotro, Sahil Kundhari, Kara Hagan, Jenny Montgomery, and Steve Simonik. These are all lodging business owners.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Motion carried. And we'll do the Santa drawing. No, I kind of pulled this together last minute, but we did have Santa just looking at us.
This is for the one-year term, correct?
Well, since I already saw it, I will say the 1-year term, yes, that is kind of the order we were planning on going. Wally will have a 1-year term, the 1-year term. And the council president's supposed to keep me honest here. The first 2-year term will be Steve Simonik from Stay USA. The second 2-year term will be Sahil Kudhari from America's Best Value Inn by the River. He's a new business owner in town, so I encourage you to go and meet him. He's a very pleasant young man. The first 3-year term, you're committed, Kara. 3-year term. And of course, the last 3-year term would be Jeannie Montgomery with Historic Log Cabin Court. So thanks, Santa. Thanks, Carl.
You're welcome.
And thanks to the new bid board for doing great things in the near future. They do have a budget, and it is meant to support the business district here in Hot Springs. All right, I'm going to move on to item F, discussion and possible motion to abate the special assessment on the following properties now owned by the city of Hot Springs. This is one that somebody brought up earlier.
I'll make a motion.
Basically properties that had special assessments and then came back to the city. And the special assessments come back to the city if they were to be paid, so we basically would be paying ourselves.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, Misty?
And you got G.
Item G, discussion and possible motion to approve the...
Give me a hard time, they just passed right over
No, I already told Misty to start working on F. She still has to do her report. After item G, discussion and possible motion to approve the free dump week for city residents in the 2016 calendar year for April 25th through April 29th and September 26th through September 30th. We are going possibly from 4 to 2 because it takes all of our maintenance and street staff off from doing other projects for an entire week. So when we do 4, we have a month of their time to the free dump week, which we definitely want to have happen, but we're going to reduce it to 2 a year and see if that better meets our needs. So that's my discussion on it. I need a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, now anybody else can discuss.
Yes, if we decide to, we'll try this for the 1 year, and if it doesn't work, we can extend it the following year and bring back the 3 or 4.
And the desire is if it does appear to be something that we do need to do more of, that we don't do it during peak maintenance times, which is our summer time.
Yeah.
And we could actually even get more creative with how we do this. I know from other communities I've spoken to, they do a program where you set out your items on the curb for about 2 or 3 days, and then that gives residents a chance to pick the streets. And whatever doesn't get picked, you pay your trash hauler, then collect it, and then the city then would foot the bill for it. So instead of having people go to our street shop and we haul the garbage, we do like a curbside system where first it gets picked over, after the garbage remains, it gets hauled away. So we can definitely talk with Public Works through the proper channels there, run the committees to propose different ideas, but initially we're looking at the two, how we've traditionally done this.
In order to do that, we'd have to redo our contract with our garbage hauler though, wouldn't we?
What's that?
It could be a separate contract.
If we were gonna do that, we'd either have to have, like Cindy said, a separate contract or addition to our contract with our garbage people now. wouldn't it?
Right, that'd be a bill the city would have, or the council would have to come to a consensus on that we pay for as a city to support that trash removal of different goods in our town.
Or we could put it out for bid and see if somebody comes in cheaper.
Or we can just all rotate
And
our
a special-
garbage.
Sounds like an agenda item for next Public Works.
But Nolan, I haven't talked to you about what you just stated before, but I know that there's a lot of times people don't have a pickup truck or just don't have, the physical ability to haul stuff or load up a pickup truck and take it out to the dump. So I want to hear more about that idea. Personally, I think it would definitely help a lot of people, and maybe we could have it more frequently because, our ordinances are you keep your yards cleaned, and that's starting to happen a lot more. We've been very busy at dump days, so it's almost contrary to what we've been seeing the need for, but I really like that idea. Let's see what's possible there if we can. But for the recommendation for 2016 as it is in front of us, April 25th through 29th, September 26th through 30th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, now I'm really skipping to Misty.
In the finance office, we're busy just doing the end of year accounting and processing and preparing. Can't hear me? Sorry.
That one's not much better.
You're good about that voice.
Thanks, Ben.
This one's to teach how to project.
Just caught your kid in the cookie jar, so talk.
Yeah, I have three. I'll project a little better. For the first time, I think, in a very long time, we just finished our performance evaluations. We, as employees, were able to do self-evaluations, and so we spent some time the last couple weeks doing that, and I really appreciated doing it, and I think the others that I work with in the finance office that have a number of years' experience with our city appreciated finally getting a chance to sit down and talk about what they've been doing so good and what they'd like to see for our city's future. We have some great dedicated employees all throughout our departments, and that was a really fun thing. So thanks, Nolan, for getting us all on track with those performance evaluations. I finally heard back from everybody for the upcoming municipal day at the legislature. That's really a fun time, and I think that we have 5 of you that are going, and 4, maybe 5, depending on if life gets in the way or not. I encourage you to meet all kinds of people and go with an open mind and go to as many things as you can. I had a lot of fun the first year that I was here and was able to go. So thanks for getting back to me. Your room reservations are made, and February 2nd you'll have a great dinner and get to meet a lot of people, and then get to go watch our legislature in action. We talked this last couple weeks a lot about the approval process for bills, kind of whose job it is to approve bills and oversee bills, and so I think clarifying that with our department heads and then with our council members, and hopefully you here that are interested in it understand a little bit more how the bills go through getting approved, and know that everything's published in our papers and everything's available for anybody to see at any time. But ultimately, the council approves every bill that comes across the desk, and they actually give the finance officer the authority or the approval to cut those checks. But each department head will come to us with their purchase orders for the expenses that they have, and then the council comes and looks at those and reviews those and asks questions, and then ultimately makes the decision for approval. And then we print it in our Hot Springs Star so that all of you can see everything that you want to see. And if there's ever any questions about anything that is printed, I hope you feel comfortable coming and asking. That's what I have for an update.
Thank you, Misty. Nolan?
So just to touch on what Misty referenced earlier, we are finishing up our evaluations. This is something we plan to do now each year around this time of year when things are a little bit slower for outside projects. And I'm thankful that Misty enjoyed the process. And from my perspective, the self-evaluation that our employees did had a component in there where they talked about their notable accomplishments, what they were proud of in 2015. So it was really nice for me to see what our employees are proud of that they accomplished. And one of those items I'll bring to your attention right now is in our police department, each month we send to the state our activity or our data. And looking at fiscal year, now the state goes out the fiscal year, theirs runs October to September. We go off a calendar year. So it's a little bit different there. Is that right? October through September is the state's fiscal? July. These stats are October for some unknown reason. Okay, so they go off the federal stats, I guess, then versus the state. But regardless, our fiscal year 2014 speeding citations and speeding warnings, we issued 308 of those. In fiscal year 2015, we issued over 1,000 of those. So under Chief Close's leadership and our officers' new direction a little bit there, we have a much more active police force when it comes to running traffic. And this might seem like it's insignificant, oh, it's just speeders, but really that's the police officer's first opportunity for a point of contact to learn about other instances or other things that might be going on with that vehicle. So I just have to point out one of those highlights for just one of our departments that was replicated in other areas as well throughout the city. So we have an officer in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations. That's notable for sure.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
For the Evans Plunge pool closure, we will certainly get the word out as to when this is going to take place. For those here tonight, it'll be January 24th, it's a Sunday, through February 7th, another Sunday. I think it's actually Super Bowl Sunday for the Packer fan attendance. It's a 2-week, 1-day closure. Our priorities we've looked at include updating the flooring, the pool deck area, the drop ceiling, making it more appealing so it does not harbor moisture, updating the locker rooms so they are cleaner and you have more privacy in there as well, updating the signage so we can tell about Evans Plunge story while at the same time making our rule signs more visible to the public, looking at the fluorescent lighting we have to maybe cut down on our energy costs. One of the members of our Evans Plunge Advisory Committee identified it and made a good point that our two biggest expenses at Evans Plunge, apart from the loan, is our personnel cost and our electricity costs. And so we can certainly work, like we did with the restriction of hours, to control personnel costs, and we can work to control energy costs, but of course the loan is kind of a fixed cost. But this gives us a chance to maybe explore options with Black Hills Energy to do LED reimbursements and update our lighting so we don't have that high energy demand that we currently have. And then we're also looking to continue gym improvements as well, as that has helped us gain new members, and with new members comes new opportunities for Evans Plunge. And then with the closure being announced, we'll also do a better job with communicating to the public our planned events at Evans Plunge. So we look to get a full calendar of events for 2016, probably in about a 6-month window or an 8-month window to get people knowing what's coming up at Evans Plunge from January 1st through August to give them a chance to plan ahead for certain events, like if they want to buy a membership, when the deal might kick in. That's all I have.
Thank you, Nolan. I'm always last, so I kind of repeat things sometimes, but just wanted to remind the public that the DOT meeting that was canceled for last Tuesday is rescheduled for January 7th at 7 p.m. here at the Mueller Center. If you have an interest or business or residence along 385 through town, highly recommend you attend that meeting. Also, wanted to let, I think I saw Bob here, I did provide wastewater revenue information to Labatt for them to include in the EIS. They came back asking for other additional information, and we have Tracy Bastion, our city engineer, working on the additional requests that they had for various wastewater types of questions. So we're working with them on that. Also wanted to remind people that we will start with a new contractor for our solid waste pickup at residence before we meet again, or soon after. So I'm assuming there'll be a couple hitches, just asking the public to be a little patient as we transition to a new waste hauler, and remember that we did choose a local vendor, and we're pretty happy about that we were able to bring that home, and just ask for your patience as that plays out over the next 3 years? 5 years. I especially want to thank the staff for preparing us for this meeting, the council for being prepared to have a nice, smooth meeting, and I appreciate the people in the public that came to help participate in the meeting as well. Hope you all have a great holiday. Bob? You're not going to let me be last, huh? Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can.
You had mentioned you had responded to Labatt about the wastewater treatment. But certainly not the most significant impact of the proposal the VA has. Scott Hayden with the Chamber just had the state of South Dakota do a recent economic impact. Last one that was done was in 2013. The one that for 2015, you're looking in excess of a $50 million economic impact to the city. So I would certainly hope that you would go back and address those things. Of all the impacts to the city, I don't mean to diminish the sewer plant, but on the whole list of things, if that's the only thing we respond to, I think we've missed a great opportunity with all the other potential impacts.
Oh,
Thank you for making that.
I'm just letting you know what we're currently working on with them. Thank you. I appreciate the update.
Cindy, for your solid waste pickups too, you have containers and stuff you need to remind people about.
You want to explain where that information, we're putting in the Star, we're putting it on Facebook, we're getting door hangers.
I guess so right now, yeah, it'll be in the Star tomorrow, it'll be in the Star the next week as well. It's a pretty good sized ad that was placed in there. Anybody that has a Kiefer canister, they should have a City of Hot Springs canister, but during our contract with Kiefer, instead of repairing ours and then placing them back, they just put in one of theirs because we do not have the repair parts available to them. So now we are transitioning out of their canisters and dropping ours off. So where that has happened, they received a note on that canister explaining to them exactly the process. Keep using your Kiefer can until it disappears, then now proceed to use your Hot Springs can. Recycling, we are taking signups for recycling at the City Hall. You can also call if you can't make it in there. We will have to verify your identity at some point though to make sure neighbors aren't enrolling their neighbors for recycling. But if you have any more information or want any more information about that, at the back table it talks about what can and cannot be recycled. And then always feel free to contact City Hall. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I'd like to add one more little deal, just kind of as a heads up that you might want to pass on to your neighbors. In the last couple nights, we've had gentlemen going house to house trying to sell Dish Network hookups. They are not Dish Network people. If they come to your house, please call our police force. They came to my house. I was one of them that they stopped at. And as soon as I asked the guy for credentials, he was gone. So might want to kind of pass it around, but we're not the only ones. It's been in Edgemont and several other states too. So just be aware.
Just as a general rule of thumb for anyone doing door-to-door sales, always, if you're not sure of their legitimacy, ask them, show me your City of Hot Springs peddlers or solicitors license. And if they don't have that, they're not official, so just tell them to beat it and then call the police as well. If you at all feel threatened, close the door and then contact the police. But if you are curious to know if they're legit or not, ask for the City of Hot Springs peddlers or solicitors license, and they should have that on them at all times when they're door knocking.
That's a good point, thank you. And thanks, officer, for helping with questions tonight. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
I wanted to say, this is the last council meeting, right, before the new year. So I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to all of you and everybody out there. And also, thank you guys for all your help. Misty, Nolan, Mayor Donnell, it's really been all of the council people. It's been great working with you. Thank you so much. It's been a good year, good learning experience for me, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and make it a safe New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all. Happy holidays.